Hey, today's good person to know is John Roberts. He's founder and CEO of AO.com. And this video is on the 10 principles that he uses to run his hugely successful business. By way of background, John started Appliance Online, as it was referred to then, way back in 2000, following a £1 bet that he wouldn't quit his job. 14 years later, he listed his company on the London Stock Exchange for a market valuation of £1.2 billion. And John says it's all about the service. He says you need to have a passionate team of people around you, but that you've got to invest time in them so they know what the bigger picture is. The customer pays the bill, but they're not necessarily always right, and to challenge everything, but to keep everything simple. Now, you may have heard from speakers in the past, but nothing quite like how John explains it. He says to treat your customers as if they're your grandmother. And when making a decision, would your mother be proud of you? And I think that's really cool because it brings it back to the true essence of what business is all about, and that's servicing the customer. So I hope you enjoy this video, and thank you for watching.
Describing how AO started is the famous £1 bet story. It was me and a pal of mine, Alan Latchford. We were sat in the pub and we were chatting, or I'd been chatting endlessly about how the industry needed to change. So he bet me the £1 that I wouldn't quit my job and get on with starting the business and doing something about it. We're always looking to invest in the future of our business. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can develop our people, how we think differently to other businesses. So what I'm going to run through today are the 10 principles that we run our business by. Most of these ideas we've nicked off people. We've not invented very much, we've just nicked things and then we've applied them. The first one is to build an amazing team full of passionate people that care. People that care are infinitely more efficient. It's about creating the environment for people to care in. And the best way I explain that is the little story of two Johnnies that go to school. This little Johnny is a bit odd. This one loves history. So he watches the History Channel, he reads history books, he talks to lots of old people about the wars and everything else, and he's just passionately interested in history. If you take the second little Johnny, he's normal, he doesn't give a toss about history. And so he comes into school, but fortunately he has a teacher, and hopefully everybody had one of these, that lights the lesson up for him in Technicolor, paints pictures for him in his mind. So what we try and do is we try and recruit the first type of students that fundamentally are very, very interested and care. Point 2 is explain why. I have a phrase in our business which is, when I am sick and tired of repeating something, everybody else may, and only may, just and only just be getting it. The way that we think about that is the value of people getting engaged in what you do. If you imagine 3 people building a wall, and you go and ask the first guy what he's doing, his answer is, I'm laying bricks. That's what he's been asked to do. So you go and ask the second guy what he's doing, and he says, I'm building a wall. So he's thinking a little bit bigger. And you get to the third guy, and you ask him what he's doing, and he tells you he's building a cathedral. And he'll describe what the cathedral is going to look like, and he'll be proud of his part of that cathedral, even though it's only one particular wall. Because somebody took the time to explain to him what the cathedral was going to look like. And somebody took the time to explain to him what his part of that was going to be and the importance of his role. The third point is that we operate to principles, not prescriptions. If everybody just gets told what to do, then there's no real incentive for them to think. But if we outline principles for them, then it enables us to scale at a much faster pace. And one of the best examples that I have for that is the way that Ocado empower their drivers. So when an Ocado vehicle turns up, the grapes, for whatever reason, just taking them as an example, have been squashed by the washing powder. My wife was to complain to the driver. The driver would just say, no problem at all, and he would literally just go tap, 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 that's it, done. You don't even think about it again. They just trust him to make that decision on the doorstep. And that delivers an instant service to the customer and takes away a problem and an emotion around it. Number 4 is the customer pays the bills. They vote with their credit cards. Don't
actually agree with the phrase that the customer is always right, because they're not. Customers are sometimes wrong. The way we think about it is the customer is always happy. It doesn't matter how. I've never known the cost of a problem go down with time. The more time we spend arguing about it, I'm just paying someone to argue about it. If we escalate it, I'm paying someone else to argue about it who's probably paid more than the other person that was arguing about it. And actually, even if I feel like I've won at the end, I've probably lost the customer. So the way that we think about it is we want to win the war, not the battle, and we want customers to feel good about it. And I actually fundamentally believe that 99% of people are honest anyway. Number 5 is that great service is the most profitable long-term service. So if you focus on just getting it right and making whatever investments you need to make to get it right, you won't suffer from this world you don't see. And one of the things is that a lot of people don't even monitor what is being said about them. I try and answer any customer complaint within about an hour. It depends what you're doing during the day, because repeat and recommendation customers are by far the most profitable and sustainable customers. Number 6, we think about structural advantage in the business. It's something that I spend a huge amount of my time looking at other businesses to understand how do they do that. Within that, internally we call it the tyranny of awe. So we want people that are hugely ambitious and very humble. We want people that are extremely disciplined and very creative. And we want people that are bold in everything that they do and simultaneously paranoid. Number 7 is challenge everything. I believe my responsibility in the business is to understand all the detail of everything that's going on and be involved in none of it. My favourite games is just playing devil's advocate. Is just taking a completely contrary position just for the sheer fun of it. Just to test how they're thinking about it. Why people think the way that they do and how have they reached those conclusions, and then at the end of it you kind of walk away with an understanding of whether they've thought about it deeply enough. Within the challenge everything, we have a phrase which is do unto yourself before somebody else does unto you. I feel like we're slipping behind on some things. You know, we invented same day for our category, we invented 7-day, we invented next day. All that's old news now. What's our next competitive advantage and how do we keep thinking ahead? Because one thing's for sure, somebody somewhere will be thinking about it. Number 8, always do the right thing. Don't let the P&L be your guide. Don't let how much money you make out of something inform your thinking on an individual basis. In our call centre, we have 2 rules. The first rule is treat every customer as if they were your gran. My gran has very clear standards. She wants what she's paid for. That's it. And she wants people to be nice to her. If we get it wrong, just sort it out. So we don't have any financial constraints at all in any of our call centre operations on what people can do for customers. What that means is that we resolve over 96% of all calls into our business on the first person you speak to. And the second thing, if you had to go home at the end of the day and have dinner with your mum and explain to your mum the decisions that you made, would she be proud of the decisions that you made? And if the answer to that is yes, you probably made the right decision. Number 9, the value of praise and recognition. I write to about 10 people a week in the business just to say thank you for their efforts. We get, varies, but somewhere in the region of about 600 or 700 compliments a week, and we have a top 10 out of that every week that get a letter. Think creatively about things as well. So the drivers are highly incentivized to make customers feel good. We take all our Facebook comments over a fortnight period and we put them into the booklet, for good and for bad. Drip, drip, every 2 weeks they know it's coming and they think about it, and over time, you know, this whole you get sick of saying it, over time it sinks in. 10 is simplicity is a very, very sharp knife. We try and find ways to explain things to people that everyone can understand. I have a phrase in our business which is, explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old, and if you can't, it means you don't understand it. And when I say that, I want them to explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old now. Perfection is achieved not when there's nothing to add, but when there's absolutely nothing left to take away.
I really like John's honesty. The fact that these 10 principles, he didn't make them up. He actually got the very best out of lots of companies and he rolled them all into one so that his company provided a perfect, seamless, fantastic service, which he clearly is doing because they have won so many awards. So if you're thinking about how you can deliver a better customer service to your clients, think about the companies that are performing really well and try and mimic them. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please subscribe to see more and thank you for watching.